All right. Let's see what's going on. Okay. So, hi, welcome. All right. Let's see what's going on. Okay, hang on. All right. So, welcome to another Educators Can. I'm actually just waiting for. Oh, there she is. No, she's not. Where's Kath? Kath, can I make you? Yes. Yay. Okay. Kath, can you hear me? Kath, you just need to unmute yourself. All right.
Hey.
That was loud. Hello. Can you put your video
on? I don't know. Wait on.
It'll be down the bottom.
Yes.
Oh man. Okay. So for those of you all watching, because it's going live, sorry, Kath, I didn't realize it would go live straight away, but it is. And we are just trialing Zoom for Facebook Live. Come here, Bubba.
We are.
And our reliable Be Live TV is just not very reliable.
So unreliable.
So every week we get on, early. And it's always restarting computers, trying different microphones, and it always messes up. So I thought I would give Zoom a go, and we are streaming live straight to the page. So, which is awesome. And I'm going to just bring that up on my phone so I can see what's happening in there. If you do have any comments or questions, please post them underneath the video, just in the comments below. And we will definitely be answering your questions. Now, it does look a little bit different to how, I did schedule it through Be Live for this time, but we are using a different system. So, it's a little bit messy, but let me just kind of delete that bit and sorry. It's all a bit, and Andy's out still, so.
Oh, okay. I can see us. Okay. I'm just going to share this to my page.
Awesome. Oh, there's a comment already. Let me just keep that going. Okay, we're a lot clearer, but we are smaller. Yes, it will be smaller. But if you if you're watching on your phone, tilt the phone to the side and it will make it bigger. If you're on your computer, you can expand that. So that will make it a little bit bigger. So welcome, Kath. Sorry, I just thrown you straight off. We haven't even spoken before this. So yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm coming out of last week. I had re-registration. So, and I tell myself not to get stressed. It's all good. You're just showing what you normally do, all of those sorts of things. And then on the day, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't show everything. And I get so stressed and I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, this is what we do. We do this all year. And then we have one day of re-registration. So I can definitely sympathize with those educators that do A&R or re-registration and whatnot and just lose the plot, because that was me a bit last week and I don't know why, but it just I don't know, it just puts that pressure on. I put that pressure on myself for everything to be right, and everything can't always be 100% right. That's why we do re-registration. Like, we go through everything and check everything's up to date. That's what it's for. So
yeah,
it all ended up 100% fine, which is fabulous. Of course.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So it's and I think most schemes do like a re-registration sort of process every 12 months. Did you do a re-registration process every 12 months?
Yes, I think we did. I know that we had our monthly check-ins, but I know that every 12 months there was just a bit more detail. I don't know if it was re-registration as such, But we did have to resend everything in. So if we used our vehicle, we had to send everything in again for that. Updated things. So I have my teacher registration. So that's part of our Blue Card application. So that had to be sent in, and that's an annual thing. Anything that's kind of annual, all the subscriptions, insurance, all that kind of stuff, we did have to send through. They kind of gave us a checklist. So, and it was really quite helpful. But my scheme was so helpful just in general that I found that, if I was having any issues before the 12 months, that, they were really quite helpful there anyway. So, yeah, which was great. Yes. But yeah, I do, even just the monthly check-ins, it was just a bit stressful because I didn't know how the children were going to react as well, although I did get used to that. But for me, you don't know because they're coming on different days and you've got different children and you're a bit anxious, and then the children can sense that they go a bit crazy and you're trying to show them your best, day.
Yeah, you want it to be the best.
Yeah, and it doesn't always happen like that. But, they know, they have got experience, and, so it does kind of, once you've done it a few times, no, it didn't get easier. It didn't get less stress.
I really enjoyed the monthly, I really enjoy the monthly check-in. I really quite enjoy that.
Yeah.
But just the yearly one, I'm like, oh, I want it all right. I want it, I want everything to just go tick, tick, tick and all be in order and everything. And and most of the time it is.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, we have got a couple of questions on tonight, and I have got some exciting news for Queensland educators. So I'm going to get to that towards the end. I'm pretty excited. I will have all the details next week, but I've got some of the details now. So that's, a bit exciting. So remind me if I forget to tell everyone. So some of the questions I had Kelly asking in today about any images that we use. So for creating kind of task boards or just routine boards or image schedules. Do you know what I'm talking about? So how our day is going. I've always used these, particularly if I have any children who are anxious. Or just kind of, the children who kind of need to know what's going to be happening through the day. So they're images. It was a link actually that I shared. So it's not my resource. It's one I shared. So I will post the link below after we finish tonight. But Kelly was asking about those, and another educator had asked me a little while ago about these, about how do we actually use them, and if there was some tips that I could give them about using them. So do you use kind of that type of thing in your environment?
Not really, no. Not really. I had a child a while ago with special needs for school. And so I did do up, dress, breakfast, teeth brushing, bus, shoes. I think I had 5 or 6 that we used to talk about in the morning. Okay, which one of these is next? What can you think? Those sorts of things. But I haven't actually, but that was years ago, and I haven't introduced anything like that lately or currently. But I could see how to be super helpful.
Yeah, and I think it's also helpful for those children who are just starting with you to get an idea of what the deal is, what's happening. And especially for children, if they are anxious to go to sleep, I do find that if they know what's going to be happening, it can help them. So what we do is, I will put the link below, and it's a whole range of different images. And they're very basic images of, a lunchbox or a drink bottle or a bed, or, even brushing your teeth. But I don't do that in family daycare. I don't know if educators do that. Do other educators do that? Brush kids' teeth? I have heard of one doing it, but I don't know if it was common.
Yeah, I definitely offer it. I definitely offer it with my schoolies. It's a lot of
Ah,
parents.
yes, yeah.
A lot of parents
Before school.
want that done. You know, they come in in their jammies with their bag of things to do with the morning. They bring their brekkie, they bring their toothbrushes, they, you know, bring
Yeah.
their hair elastics and their brush and whatnot. And we go through the routine of that morning routine before they go onto the bus. So I found that most parents actually do want that.
So what about excluding schoolies, what about during the day for littlies? Do you do that during the day? No.
No, we do it during dental week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's something that we do then. It's not something I've done apart from that week with the unders, but
Oh, because that was one thing that I do remember that coming up, and one educator said that they do that actually all the time. So, but yeah,
that's interesting.
It was
love
really
to know if you're an educator that offers teeth brushing, like at lunchtime or morning tea or whatever. We would love to know how that goes, because it's quite an interesting concept to introduce into your routine, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think particularly for educators who have children for 10 to 12 hours,
yes,
they may not have time to brush the teeth before they come in the morning or in the evening, depending on if parents who are doing shift work and things like that. So I would love to know about that as well. Back to our images,
yes.
Some of the other common images were things like their hats, backpacks, going home. So it would just be like a little house. Other things would be, I do know some educators have actually taken their own photos. So it's of things that are very familiar in their environment. I mean, that's a great idea. It sounds like a lot of work, and I don't think it's absolutely necessary. But, if you go to a common park or a library or things like that, I think that's quite, it can really help settle children to know what's going on. I mean, I personally, as an adult, I need to know what's happening in my day. I can't just go with the flow. I know there's lots of people that can. I cannot.
Yeah.
And so it's not like necessarily just for children who are anxious. It can just be for children in general who want to know what's happening. And especially as they get a little bit older, I find under two, that's kind of happy if you've got food and things to do. But over two, I find that as they're getting closer to preschool, they want to know what is happening for the day. And even, days of the week, if there's a particular day of the week that you go to playgroup or the library or whatever it is, that's always nice to have that up as well, for new children and existing children, if you're mixing things up. So I think it's a great idea, and I definitely want to share that resource. And I also just remembered a game that's to help children become familiar with your environment. And also it was a great game for children who've been with you for a little while and connecting with children who are fairly new. It was using photos, and it was taking photos of your environment, laminating those images and giving that to the child, and they have to go and find it. So for younger children, I'd take kind of more distant photos, so there was more of the more of the location in it. So it might be the entire swing set, for example. And then as they got older, and as they got older, I got more and more kind of focused on a particular element. And it might even just be the screw in the side of the play set or the swing set or something like that. So, as they get older, you get more to find, and you will be amazed at how much they notice of their environment. Yes. It's like they'll notice, the tassel on a cushion or the stripe on a rug, and so you can kind of get more more focused in different areas. So that was a really fun activity. It just made me think of it. Of what I used to do. I used to do that at kindy, but also in family daycare, where children just love to be really, have something to really be looking for. It's like a treasure hunt type thing. So I'd have a whole deck of cards. I'd have 2 sets. I'd have a bigger, like one that was more, stepping back from the frame, and one that was really detailed. And I'd have those for the different, because I always had distinctly 2, like a young group and an older group. So
yeah,
that was really useful. And then you can also extend on that activity and get children to take their own photos and make their own game as well. That's another really good way to extend on that.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And
so have you had any other, sorry.
Also with that one, getting the older children to take photos with an intent of making a game for the smaller children.
Yes.
Not just for themselves, so that you have that awareness of making things for others, and building that closeness within a group. I've done both of those, and to give the older children that responsibility of making something that the younger ones can do, they just love it.
Oh, sorry, I'm just checking to see if there's any comments. I think it's, so Luca goes to Montessori, and it's such a strong, such a core element of that is encouraging the older children to support and, help the younger children. So that's always what I like to, integrate as well.
Yeah. It builds the most amazing skills, and you can tell children, like you can tell the older children that have been encouraged to think or make or do things for those younger children. You can tell them, you can pick them out of a group.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have any other questions that you've had this week?
Yes, I had one.
Ooh,
and that's not it.
And while you're getting that up, if you're watching, you've got some questions, don't forget, just leave it in the comments below. I am actually tracking on my phone as well. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm keeping an eye on any questions. I know that Kathleen has joined us. Catherine's joined us. Rachel's joined us. There's a few others that I may have missed there. Yes. Oh, I have a baby under my foot. She's been super quiet, hasn't she?
Yes, she has.
Yes.
She's doing very well. Okay, so the question I had was how to introduce loose parts play when the children don't know what to do with them. And I thought this was a great question. I was like, oh my goodness. So, and to me, you need to think about, why are you introducing loose parts play? Like, are you, literally just, putting them out instead of, or are you putting them out with an aim? And I really like to think of it as offering something different for the children, but also with an aim to build confidence for the children, with the children, and supporting new skills with the children. So a part of us as educators is trying to encourage the children to be problem solvers and to experiment and to play, like really get in and play. And I thought this is a great question to talk about. Why would we introduce loose play, Pike?
Yeah, well, I agree. You need to have a focus. I think also, it's pretty common sense, the younger they are, the bigger the pieces are. So it doesn't mean that, when we think of small parts play, it doesn't mean that you have to be playing with hello, Baba. Hello. Sorry, I'm just going to move this plant before it gets pushed on the floor. So it doesn't mean that it has to be tiny little pieces when we talk about loose parts. Even bigger, there's like a big wave of the trend of having wooden pieces like tree branches that have been sanded back and things like that. So it's about giving them a sense of structure, but freedom to think.
Freedom as well, yes.
That's really the focus. Like loose parts play is about not telling them, okay, you need to stick this here and put this here. It's about giving them the resources and then stepping back. You know, I always say when you're introducing loose parts play, you want to give them an example. So you want to demonstrate how you would use it, give them some ideas, because, you know, you can't just say, oh, here's a bucket of whatever, and you expect them to be able to
go for it. Because some children will, and hi. Some children will and some children won't. Like some children will just be so dismayed by being offered, you know, large pebbles or whatever to play with that they'll totally shut down. And then you get your whingy, whiny child that, you know, needs comforting because they don't quite know what to do.
Yes.
So slowly, do it slowly. Yeah. And replace something that they already play with and the example I used for her was Play-Doh. You know, instead of cutters with Play-Doh, add corks, pebbles, and little sticks.
Yeah.
You know, so they're not tiny. We're not talking little marbles or anything like that. We're talking big, safe objects that they can literally experiment with, but actually replace something that they know how to use with them, so they'll still want to play.
Yes. I love that, how you've incorporated something that they already have experience with, but something new. So they already know how to use the Play-Doh, but then they're adding something else. And I also think another way to help kind of progress into using that is just, you don't have to give them a whole bucket. You know, give them
basket.
A smaller
nice
number.
Little basket. Yeah. Make it cute. Make it pretty. Make them that they feel like it's inviting for them to to experiment with and move around.
Like my daughter is right now, who is has climbed on the table behind the computer, and now she thinks that's funny. All right. Hang on.
Which it probably is. How much fun is that?
Come here, you little monkey. Okay, we're back. There we are. Hey, yeah. It's been bucketing rain here since Friday, and so she has just loved being out in the mud, like just piles of mud. That's all she needs. Some cups, and like, I don't know what she's got out there, to be honest. There's just a range of different stuff that she's grabbed from the kitchen. Hey, very creative. What are you saying, Belly? Can you say Belly? Good job, Mimi. You funny monkey. Yes. So I think, you know, as you said, like, do the Play-Doh. Start with a few like bigger items and just have a small bucket. And it's so much fun for them. And that is like your stages. You know, you want to just introduce it slowly. Make sure that every child knows how to use it.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, we had a question a while ago about, you know, when I do loose parts play, or if I do any kind of play with smaller pieces or lots of pieces, children are just throwing them and not playing properly with them. And I remember you were saying, like, you need to make sure you're teaching them how to use it. You need to make sure you're reducing the amount of pieces that are out there, so that they are not just getting distracted and throwing with it, and stay with them. You know, you want to stay on task with them. You cannot just set this up and walk away until they are used to it, until they have kind of earned your trust a little bit there, using those resources, because, you know, and things that we provide, you know, they're not cheap. And that's what we understand that. We're not just saying go and spend all this money. And a lot of these things you can just go and collect. You can go and collect them as you walk to the playground or while you're there. So there's a lot of fun things in that. Now, we haven't had any questions tonight. It's really quiet tonight. I think that could have something to do with our little mishap with the technology, but I'm actually thinking this is really, really clear. It is much clearer than normal. So we can look at doing this each week. So even on Simpliflat, we can do that. We can make that happen.
Yeah. Nice. So tell us, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Let us know, because it's a bit.
Yeah. So if you do have questions, if you're watching the recording, just post it in the comments. We're always around and we're happy to answer those questions even after we've finished.
Yeah.
Now, before we finish tonight, I do want to let people know. So I was contacted by a training institute on the Gold Coast about a government initiative to actually fund a diploma for educators who wanted to get the diploma, who haven't had a diploma previously. So there are a couple of conditions. It is only available for Queensland educators because it's funded by the Queensland government. And so they can contact this training centre. I'll actually be having them put together some information for us for next week, so we'll know exactly what the details are. But there are many educators who contact me frequently saying, is there any funding for family daycare educators? Are there any grants? How can I get qualified? I don't have the money, and I know the Certificate 3 is a great starting point, but I definitely know that being a diploma qualified educator can be another selling point if you are wanting to kind of stand out a bit more. It is not essential. You do not have to have a diploma to be a family daycare educator. A Cert 3 is the minimum requirement. But I do know a lot of educators are interested in going that next level. They also offer, what is it called? Recognition of prior learning. So if you've had over 3 years experience, you can actually get a lot of the tasks marked off by having one of the trainers come around. They've got trainers everywhere that come around and observe you, and you can get a lot of the modules marked off based on your experience, which is really good. Because I do feel like sometimes when educators go in to do a diploma, they are bored with the content that's being delivered because they've done this for so long, and they feel like their experience means nothing. So there are many training institutes. So I've just had one contact me and tell me about this, and I just thought it was fabulous because I know this is such a great opportunity for many educators who do want to get their diploma. So I'll have all of the details next week. If you are just cannot wait and you're very, very keen to know straight away, just email me and I can have a chat with you. I'll just send you the information they've sent me. But they are just going to finalise all the information for me for next week. So pretty exciting stuff. And it kind of made me think, I wonder if there are other opportunities around Australia. I'm not sure. So if you know of anything, Kath, or anyone watching, if you know if there's a state government in your state that's funding this type of thing, because I had no idea. I have actively looked for grants and funding for family daycare sector, and I've never found anything. So this was a huge surprise for me. So if you do know of any funding for educators, please let me know so that we can share that. One of the conditions with this funding is that there is a funding budget. So once that's reached, it's no longer available. So if you are kind of thinking about it, get in touch with me straight away so I can send you information straight up, because they have said that once the government has reached their funding limit, then they cannot offer the funding anymore. So that's important that you don't dawdle. Because I would hate for anyone watching this to miss out. There you go, Bubba. Oh, she wants her shoes. Hey? She's such a little shoe baby. My boys hate wearing shoes, so it's really quite interesting. We've had to buy shoes for her. So, did you have anything else you wanted to add tonight, Kath, before we head off?
No, I think I'm good. We'd love more questions, guys. So if you're, if you have questions, send them through. We love answering them.
We do. And next week we will be back same time over on Simple Reflect page. I will share that on this page. So if you haven't been following, and I think we're about to get to our very limits of her patience tonight. She's done very well.
She's done very well. She has.
I want to kind of wrap this up before she does crack it. Okay, I'm sure you've all got experience of that. We've got the shoes. Yes, you want to say bye-bye? Say bye-bye. No. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on again tonight. Sorry, I just like threw you straight into this.
It's all good. It's all good.
And we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, guys. See you.
See ya.